Hello friends, today we're working on the activity getting in order. But before we do that, I wanted to spend a couple minutes here talking about arrays. And if you haven't looked back at the videos we've done here on arrays prior to this, go ahead and take some time, go back to those because I think they're really useful in getting to where we are at this point. But moving forward here, just wanted to quickly review what we have here. So here I've declared a variable called characters, and it has an array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strings in it. Okay, and characters is a variable, which means it can be changed. If we had said let characters equal this array, then we couldn't change it. It would be what we call immutable in computer science. It's our unchangeable. But since we've declared it to be a var characters instead of let, we say that characters is mutable or changeable. Okay? So remember, this is what it looks like in the computer's memory. We've got 6 strings in this array, and since we've declared this array to be a type of string array, we can only hold strings in it. So for example, if we ever tried to put in a double or an int or a boolean, you would get a compile error that says characters can only hold strings at this point because we've declared it to be a string array by putting strings in there at the beginning. Okay, so there are 6 characters in here, six characters, and they're all strings in the array characters. And in arrays, remember from previous videos that we have indices or integers that are associated with each one of the elements here. So Holdo is at index 0, Chewy is at index 1, Leia is index 2, Lando has index 3, Kenobi index 4, and Rey index 5. So if we ever wanted to access anywhere in this array, we could say, what is characters at index 4? And that would be the string Kenobi. What is characters at index 1? That would be Chewy. Okay? Now there's some things we can do with arrays. And one of the things that we can do, if it's a var, we can change it. And one of the ways we can change it is we can remove an element of the array. So if this is our character array and it has 6 elements in it, and their indexes are 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, if we do something like this, if we say characters dot remove at an index 3, that will say, let's remove, we want to remove the element at index 3. Well, what's at index 3? Lando. So we want to remove Lando from this array. And if you say characters.remove at index 3, what happens is that element will disappear, and that will leave space in the array. And we can't have space in an array, so Kenobi and Rey will move over to fill that space. So here we say remove at index 3, and Lando, that element is removed, and Kenobi and Rey move over so that their indices go, instead of 4 and 5, they change to 3 and 4. So now there are 5 elements in the array with index 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the 5 elements. Okay? Now, another thing we can do, another behavior that arrays have, if they're mutable, is we can say characters dot append a new element. And append means to add something to the end of something. So in this case, we're going to be adding a new element to the end of characters, and that new element will be the string Luke. Again, we couldn't say new element equals 7.89 because that's a double, and you can't add a double to an array of strings. And we can't say, new element equals true because that's a boolean, and we can't add a boolean to an array of strings. So characters, though, is an array of strings, and so we can say append new element Luke. Now what will happen here is we're going to add a new element to the end of the array. It will have index 5, and it will get the value Luke. Okay, just like that. Remember, append always adds a new element to the end of the array. So the array, you can think of the array as going to be getting 1 bigger in this case. All right. One other thing we want to do is maybe we don't want to always insert right at the end of an array. Maybe we want to insert an element somewhere in the middle of an array. So we can do that too. We can say characters.insert a new string, a new element, at some index. In this case, we're going to add Vader, the string Vader, to index 2. And again, we couldn't add an integer here or a Boolean or any other type of object. It has to be a string because this is a string array. So we'll say characters.insert the string Vader at index 2. Now this is a little tricky because there's already an element at index 2, Leia. So what's going to happen here is we're going to have to split this array apart to make room for a new index 2. So we're going to split it up after Holdo and Chewie. We're going to split it up so that Leia, Kenobi, Rey, and Luke move apart, and we can insert a new element into the index 2. So here we go. We're going to move split them apart. We put a new element for a string Vader, and it gets the index 2. And Leia, Kenobi, Rey, and Luke, which used to be 2, 3, 4, and 5, get their indices changed to 3, 4, 5, and 6. So again, we've added a new element, a new string to this array, and so now there are 7 elements instead of 6. Okay, so just to review here, .append adds a new element to the end of an array. .remove at some index will delete the element at the index that you give it. Okay, and that's going to make a shorter array, one shorter. And insert some new element at a different index will put the new element at whatever index you provide. So we put it in the middle of the array, but you could just as easily insert the new element at index 0 and it would put it at the beginning. Or you could insert the new element at the end of the array, whatever that index would happen to be, and you could insert that element at the very end of the array, but you probably would just use append if you wanted to do that. All right, there's a couple other useful variables or properties on arrays that you might find interesting. So again, given this array called characters that has 7 elements, indexed 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, if we want to just really quickly access the first element or find out what's in the first element of that array, we can say the array.first or characters.first in this case, and that's the string Holdo. Okay, so the element at the 0 index or the first element of the array is a string called Holdo. So in this case, if we say let strange character equal characters.first, strange character will contain the string Holdo. Okay, another useful one is characters.last. So in this case, I'm saying make a var original character and assign it to characters.last. And characters is this array. The last element in here is the string Luke. So var original character will be assigned to the string Luke. Okay. Again, if our array was an array of integers and we did, array.last, then the .last would return an integer value and our variable would be an integer then. But since in this case these are all strings, that's what we end up with, an original character. Okay, so let's move on to the puzzle called getting in order. Okay, we're in the activity getting in order, and our goal is to place some characters, Blue, Hopper, and an expert, in order by height. So again, this is using arrays, and we're going to have an array of characters. I highlight them down here. Our array of characters here has character Blue, a portal, character Hopper, and a gem. Okay, so this array of characters has 1, 2, 3, 4 elements in it right now. They're a character, a pink portal, character Hopper, and a gem. So if we run this, here's the rest of the code down here. Ignore these comments for right now. What we have in here is a variable called row placement, which is initialized to 0. We have a for loop that says for every character in the array characters, place that character at a coordinate at column 1 row placement, which again starts at 0, and then it looks like row placement gets bumped up by 1 every time. So it's going to put it at at column 1, row placement will be 0, then row placement will be 1, row placement will be 2, and row placement will be 3. So it's going to put our characters in order along this column right here. And since there are four elements in our character array, let's watch them get placed here. It should be blue first, then a pink portal, and then a hopper character, and then a gem. Okay, good. So let's take a look at here what we're going to learn in this activity. It says an array comes with a set of methods, right? Methods or functions that let us add or remove items from our array, and we saw these in the introduction slides here. The first of these functions is called remove at some element here, or at some index. So remove at 2 would remove the element at index 2. Append some new element will add an item to the end of the array, and insert some new element if we want to put it anywhere in the array, not necessarily at the end of the array, but at any index in the array. We would give it that index right here as an integer, and we put that out, the new element right in there. So and it says, it gives a little example here where an array is favorite foods, and these are a set of emoji, and we've got a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different emoji, and it's in a variable favorite food, so it's mutable or changeable. And we can say favorite foods dot remove at index 2, and it's going to take 0, 1, 2, this second element, and remove it from the array, and then move these two items, connect them all together, so we're left with the array taco, strawberry, fried egg, and cheese. All right, and then we can use the insert element at, and I'm not sure what this is. This is a spaghetti. So we're going to insert some spaghetti at index 1 here, and that will say, well, we already have something at index 1, which is strawberry, so it's going to move these three elements out of the way, make room for a new index 1 spaghetti, and then continue on with strawberry, fried egg, and cheese. Okay. The one they didn't talk about is append, and if we were to append, say, pizza at the if we were to say favorite foods dot append pizza, it would put it at the end of the array over here. So okay, it gives instructions here on what we need to do in order to get the characters in order by height. First, we need to remove the portal. Okay, so portal is the second element, or the element at index 1 here. So if we say, well, the array name is characters right here, so if we say characters dot remove, and we can use, look at this, there's a few different ways to remove elements. We want to use this one, which says remove at index 1. But these might be useful later. We could say remove all, which presumably would get rid of all the elements in the array, remove last, or remove first. But since we need to remove at the index 1 here, we're going to go ahead and click on this and change this to be 1. So remove the item at index 1. So hopefully our array will now not have this pink portal in it. Let's go ahead and run it and see if that's gone. Okay, good. The pink portal is gone, and we now just have 3 elements in here. Now, let's go ahead and remove this gem, and same thing here. We could say characters dot remove, and we could say remove at index 0, 1, 2. That would work fine. That's perfectly fine, but I want to try out this remove last, see if that works here. So let's see if we remove the gem here. Okay, and the gem is gone. So now there are just 2 elements in this array. All right, and we want to insert the expert, and I don't know how tall an expert is, so let's first make an expert, and I think the way we do that is something like let my expert is going to be the constant's name, and I think we just create one like this using the initializer expert, like that. So that will create an expert, and let's insert this element into the array characters. So characters dot insert, the new element that we're going to insert is my expert, and let's just put them at the beginning here, and see if we get this puzzle right if we put them at element 0. So it should end up being the expert is here, blue is here, and hopper is back here. That works. So here we go. There's expert, there's blue, and there's hopper. And I don't think that quite got it right because the expert might be a little bit taller. Let's see, how do we do this? Very close though. Let's go ahead and, just for practice, let's go ahead and put the expert at index 1 instead and see if that works. There we go. Okay. So the reviewing here, what all the different methods or functions you can call on an array, something like characters or favorite foods up here. We could call, remember, append, put something at the end. Remove at some index will remove an item from the index that you specify. And there's also these other different nice convenient methods called remove all, which gets rid of all of them. Remove last, which will remove the very last element, and remove first, which will remove the very first element. And the other thing we can do is say append. So for example, we could say characters.append and put a character at the end. Since we didn't try that here, just for fun, let's do that really quickly here at the end. Let's say characters.append, and this new element is going to be a portal. And how do you create a portal? Well, you create it with a color, and let's just pick blue for our color. So this is not going to solve the puzzle, but it is going to let us try out the append method here. And good, it put the blue portal in at the very end at the 4th element there. Okay? All right, good job everybody. See you next time.